Hi, good morning. It's Jason from Fraser Valley Rose Farm. I have two things for you today. First is a video topic I've been looking forward to presenting, and second is a giveaway. This is Grubs Boots giveaway. I'm going to put a timestamp up on the screen right now that will show you the details of the giveaway, and I will say up front that this will be done by the end of April. So if you're tuning in after that, you don't have a chance. So let's get right on to the topic. My main topic today has to do with other garden YouTubers, and you may remember that back at Christmas time, as much for my information as for yours, I went through all of the garden YouTubers and checked out who had the highest viewership and who had the highest subscribers, just ranked them on a list, and that was a fun video to do, and it got a ton of feedback from viewers, and I learned two things, or I had two pieces of major feedback that stuck out. One is that people are really loyal and attached to their garden YouTubers. I think that Charles Dowding may actually be a national religion somewhere. That's one thing. Some people got so worked up about this that they actually got irritated by the way I had ranked the list. And of course, I had ranked it just by publicly available views and subscriber numbers. So that was a surprise to me. It's a bit like taking this list of countries in Africa and being irritated that Zimbabwe wasn't ahead of Angola if I sorted it alphabetically. So it got a little bit silly at certain times, but I do appreciate the passion that people have for their favorite garden YouTubers. The second piece of feedback that I thought was actually more useful or more interesting, and I'm going to act on it today, was people asking, could I maybe just make a list of Canadian garden YouTubers, because there's a lot of popular ones, and I have a lot of Canadian viewers, so I went ahead and put together a list of some of my favorite Canadian garden YouTubers from coast to coast. And unlike the previous list, I have chosen these. These are my selections, so if you do want to blame somebody for how they ended up on the list, then obviously you can do that in this video, maybe more so than the last one. I'm going to start my channel recommendations in the east and move westward, sort of in the same order that we would find out our federal election results. And the first channel I want to feature here is the Maritime Gardening with Greg, the host Greg. And this is not only a YouTube channel, but also a long-time podcast covering a wide range of gardening topics, but focusing specifically on veggie gardening, organic methods, permaculture methods, and it is information rich. And this will not be the first time you see, or the last time you see this on this list, is that Canadian gardeners, at least the ones that I have picked out here, are really focused on trying to get the right information out there, and they're not afraid to go a little bit information dense. On the podcast episodes, which can be long and full length, Greg goes ahead and talks to lots of garden authors, including some of my favorites, Bob Osborne from Cornhill Nursery, and Nikki Jabour, who's one of my favorite garden authors as well. He covers all sorts of topics, including how to use seaweed in your garden is one of his popular series, but he just covers the whole wide range, and again, especially focusing on veggie gardening. 850 episodes, including the podcast, so lots of information there. Moving westward now, let's look at the permaculture orchard. This is Stefan Subkowiak, and one of my long-term criticisms of permaculture as a method is that it seems to be more so taught than it is implemented, but he is the antidote for that, because he's actually got a 5-acre orchard with a wide variety of trees, but also underplantings. There's a video I saw where he grows his apples and his grapes in the same space, but then he also has chickens in the same area as well. A wonderful resource for people who want to start thinking about how they can mix different species and different plantings and manage it effectively in a way that actually produces rather than just is good in theory. So I very much enjoyed his channel. Moving westward into the region of Guelph, Ontario, let's have a look at garden fundamentals with prolific garden author Robert Pavlis, who has literally written the book on garden myths. He's done more than anyone I know to try to tackle bad gardening information, but also has written books on soil science for gardeners and fertilizer, writes his weekly blog on the topic, and his channel is jam-packed with what I love. It's that he's not afraid to tackle both conventional and popular garden wisdom to see if it really stands up to science. So one of the topics he did recently, and everybody loves pollinators, but no mow May is this topic where you are supposed to forego mowing your lawn in the month of May to benefit the bees. And as I say, it's an easy thing to support, but the question that should be asked by garden people is, does it really work? Does it really have benefits for the plants? Is it the best way to benefit the beneficials in your garden and the bees in your garden. And Robert Pavlis does a deep dive on that, as he does with many topics. Another one that he tackled a while back that I found fascinating was the question of humus in the garden. This is something that gardeners chase in their garden, this ideal of having humusy soil, but according to the science, it's even a question whether this thing exists. Shouldn't you know that? And this is something that he does beautifully as he goes through the complicated technical literature and brings it down to a level that people can understand. So wonderful information there. Into the prairies now and the province of Saskatchewan, let's have a look at the channel Gardening in Canada and its host Ashley, who is a soil scientist, and she takes that expertise that she has and puts it into every topic. She covers obviously short season cultivation of vegetables in the Saskatchewan colder climate, but also indoor plants, and the topics that she chooses, like for instance an individual profile of the different plant required nutrients that as they're available in the soil and so on, so nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, but all the little ones too, and goes through all of their specifics. I love that she did something on earthworms and how they're actually in Canada not a native species, and talked about their benefits and also their downsides as well. Who's tackling topics like that? I love that she isn't afraid to go into scientific comparisons between, for instance, how late should you water your plants in the season, or do you get more yield off of plants when you put them on a trellis or not? So really science-based, and I'm noticing a trend here, but lots of information on her channel. Well, that gets us all the way back here to BC, and I do have 2 more picks to share with you from the West Coast here, but in the meantime, I promised at the front of this video that I would give away a pair of Grubs boots, and I'm very thankful that they sent me a pair to use. Of course, my muddy season isn't over yet. Still get cold feet, still get wet feet. These are waterproof. These are insulated, they're durable. I've had a pair before, so I love Grubs boots. They wanted me to mention, of course, that they have rainboots.ca, so I'm going to put that in the description below. Now, if you want a chance to win a pair of boots like this, and I think you can choose different models as well, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link into the description of the video and the first comment. It's going to take you to Facebook. Unfortunately, with the comment section of YouTube, it's hard to contact people if they've entered a contest. Facebook gives me a much better chance of reaching the winner. So I want you to go through that link that I have in the description. It'll take you to the Facebook post on this same topic, and to enter the contest, what you should do is just put into the description of that video who is your favorite Canadian YouTuber of any sort. It doesn't have to be gardening YouTuber, just any Canadian YouTuber. Who is your favorite, and I will enter you to win these boots. And as I say, I'll have those out, or the winner out and selected by the end of April. Off of BC's west coast is Pender Island, and this is the home of Lovin' Off the Land as a YouTube channel, hosted by Chris and Steph, and they take on all sorts of gardening and growing, but also homesteading, beekeeping, bird keeping kinds of topics. Just a wide range, but gardening is featured heavily. Now, I may have let it slip in the past on this channel that Steph is my niece, and so there is some fondness that comes from being part of the family, but they earned their spot on this list all on their own through their popularity and also through their approach to gardening topics, which I think is unique. It's not the same old recycled videos that you've seen on 100 other YouTube channels. They will make salt from the ocean, for instance, or hostas. Did you know that they're edible? They have a whole video on how they cook and prepare the hosta leaves. Another one that they talked about was making coffee from the ground roots of dandelions, which is fantastic. So they have a different approach to all these things. I don't know where else I'm going to learn how to make a mealworm farm. And it's a lovely setting and great personalities, so I definitely enjoy watching their channel regularly. We're traveling from east to west, so we're eventually going to end up on Vancouver Island, and there's a very popular gardening YouTube channel there called The Ripe Tomato Farms, hosted by Jeff. And because they have a milder climate compared to the rest of Canada, you're going to find some topics there you probably wouldn't find in Saskatchewan, like, for instance, growing ginger from roots you find in the grocery store. He also tries his hand. I love his propagation videos. He did one on growing raspberries from cuttings. So enjoy all his wide range of topics, especially focused on veggie gardening and growing food in his own organic way. So good channel to check out. All right, thanks so much for watching today as I moved from the east coast to the west coast of Canada, picking garden YouTubers along the way. Obviously, I would have missed some along the way, so just like I said before, drop it into the comments below the video, share your favorite YouTuber, and don't forget, if you're going to join that contest on the boots, there is a link below to go to Facebook where you can talk about either your favorite Canadian garden YouTuber or your Canadian YouTuber from any topic area. Love to hear about it. Thanks for watching.